Words have power. The way we speak to ourselves has a direct impact on how we act, feel, and show up in the world. If you are right now not feeling that good because that inner dialogue is telling you really disempowering thoughts, it's time to create a kinder relationship with yourself. The longest relationship you're going to have is the one you have with yourself, and that is the one that you have to focus and cultivate in, because otherwise, who's going to be your friend? If you're not friends with your own self, how can you show up and be friends and be supportive to anybody else if you can't do that for yourself? So in this video, we're going to talk about how to create a kinder, loving, more supportive relationship for yourself. Could you imagine how mortified we would be if people could hear what we actually say about ourselves to ourselves? That was me a few years ago. My whole mindset and the way I thought and the way I just processed what was going on in my mind, and the amount of guilt, blame, resentment, and just shame that I held within myself about my current situation, the way I spoke to myself about it was really, really cruel. And if anybody else could actually hear the conversations I was having, I would be so embarrassed. Literally, the things I would say to myself, the things I would keep reinforcing, the thoughts that would come up, and I would say, yeah, Chantel, that is true about yourselves. I would never say that to another person. I would never say, if someone came and told me that they felt a certain way, or they felt feeling bad, or they was feeling upset, I would never say what I said to myself in those moments when those were my emotions. Why is it so easy that we are so quick to really ridicule and disempower and be cruel and evil and just really bad to ourselves in this thing that we call the mind, and we'd never do it to anybody else? That is why it's so important to actually create a really better relationship with the person that you're going to have the longest relationship in your life with, which is you, yourself. Think about yourself as if you're speaking to your best friend, and your best friend has come and said to you, oh, I'm overweight, or I'm in debt, or this isn't really going well at work, or with my partner and stuff. The first thing you're not going to say, like what you might say to yourself, is, yeah, well, you put yourself in that position, and at the end of the day, it's only you to blame. No, you wouldn't say that to your best friend, because you love her and you want the best for her. The same way you probably love yourself and want the best for yourself as well. So treat yourself like you would your best friend. Say, okay, this might be the situation, but this is what we can do. This is what I can see in you. These are the good points I can recognize. And this is what we can do to kind of change or avoid or just break away from whatever it is that's making you feel this way. Speak to yourself how you would speak to your best friend or a really close loved one, because you are the most important relationship that you are going to have in this entire world. So you need to kind of break the interruption or make a little distance between yourself and your thoughts, and look at it as someone else looking in on it and saying, actually, that is not the right advice, or that is not the right response to get the best out of this person. We're trying to get the best out of you. You have to train yourself to get the best out of yourself. Those disempowering thoughts and those little jabs I would give myself when things went wrong, or if I made a promises to myself that I didn't keep, I would just relinquish all my power to say, yeah, well, that's just it. Chantel, you are this. Chantel, you are lazy. Chantel, you procrastinate. Chantel, you haven't got any ambition. All of these things that might pop up into my mind, I will then say them, look for clues in my current situation, find the clues, and that reinforced how I felt about myself. I was not very kind to myself at all. In the comments below, let me know if you are ready to make a kinder relationship to yourself, and put in hashtag love thyself. Let me know below. It was only until I decided to read a few books, look at a few videos, and make a clear decision that I no longer wanted to feel this way. And that's when I started to actually realize how these thoughts came up so quickly, and how my concept of myself was able to just gravitate to making sure that those things were true. It was time for a whole reset of how I was thinking and creating a different relationship with myself, which, I'll be honest, was very hard at the beginning. It was hard because I perpetuated all these thoughts and perpetuated all these emotional ties to these thoughts, that it was really hard to break free from where I was at that time. But after all these years and going through what I've gone through and the work that I've put in, I know that it's not impossible. So I definitely know that if I can do it with how I was feeling about myself, it is open to you. So the power of words are very important, but the power of thoughts are even more important, because some of the thoughts we have, we might not actually say the words. Just think of yourself as a child. There's certain things that you might say to yourself that you would never say to your child. So what we've got to start doing is reparenting ourselves. So no matter what you went through in your life that got you to this point, whether it was your parents, your husband, your partner, work, or whatever, that created this whole dialogue about how you feel about yourself and the conversations that you have about yourself, the first thing is to do is start breaking up and making sure that you interrupt those thought patterns. For example, with me, when I was overweight, and I looked in the mirror and I said, oh my God, you're such a fat bitch. The reality is, yeah, I was a fat bitch. But by me calling myself that name, was that empowering or disempowering? I started to make sure that when I looked in my mirror and I saw something that I was not happy with, let's admit it, I was not happy with how I looked, I started to say, okay, but you know what, Chantel? You've got quite nice eyes, and then you've got quite nice this, and I started to actually, the thought would come up about, yes, you are fat, but what else is good about you? What else can you see that you could celebrate? And in actual fact, what could you do? That body that you've got, what is it helping you to do? To start actually asking better questions when those thought processes come up. That is one of the key things in terms of interrupting those disempowering thoughts that make you hate yourself or make you feel like you are not worthy of something even greater than your life experience that you're experiencing at the moment. Also, from my research and when I was learning to kind of readdress and try and create a better relationship with myself, I started to notice the conversations that I'm having with myself every day. And it was strange because you kind of think that you wake up and you have different thoughts, but actually, if you really paid attention to how you think, we have the same conversations every single day with ourselves. And unless we start to bring in different conversations and different topics or different questions, those conversations just keep going on and on and on. And usually when we're lazy because we're on autopilot and we're just going through life and we're not being consciously aware of these conversations, we're getting the same answers. So it's really important to actually pay attention to when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thought that you have? And if it's the same first thought that you have every single day, obviously you need to start to train your mind to have a different thought. How do you do that? Well, the first thing you might do is not reach for your phone. It might be that you do not wake up and have a coffee straight away. You try and find ways in order to disrupt your normal kind of wake up patterns to stop the mind from just going to autopilot, to start all this whole trail of thoughts that then perpetuate throughout your day and just follow you everywhere you go, because it does affect how you show up in life. It affects your relationships with people. It affects how you show up with your colleagues, loved ones, family, friends. It can even affect how you show up just walking down the street with somebody. Sometimes you might be walking down the street and someone might smile at you, and if your thought process is really kind of disempowered or fearful or something that you've just been carrying with you, you might look and think, oh my God, what is he smiling at me for? Oh my God, what is that about? Or you might, if you've got an empowered mindset, you might be like, oh, that was nice, good morning to you too. All of those signals kind of reinforce what your own thought patterns are, and when things are brought to you from external forces or the external world, how you react also is determined by the things that you are actually feeling within yourself. So it's time that you kind of start to interrupt those brain patterns, or those habitual emotions, those habitual conversations that are actually just repeating, just like a record. You need to scratch that record and just, or not even scratch it, break it up, throw it out, and get a brand new playlist. Another thing to be mindful of is when you're trying to create a kinder relationship with yourself, is being aware of how you're filtering things. So I'll go back to the weight, because I know us women over 40, weight is one of the things that we are really conscious of, because literally 1 minute we're a sexy beast and the next thing we just got bulges all over the place. But when someone pays you a compliment, you kind of filter out that compliment and replace it with another thing. Yeah, well, but what about this, or what about that, or yeah, thanks for telling me I look great today, but really and truly, I don't think this is feeling a bit tight. Or the way we filter things reinforces the relationship we are having with ourselves. Sometimes if we are always thinking about negative, always perpetuating negative thoughts, it's so much easier to accept negativity that comes our way, and really hard to accept any positivity that is coming our way. To be honest, once I started to be aware of what my filters were and what I was doing to reinforce the negative self-beliefs that I had with myself, I started to realize that actually there was more positive. I was surrounded by more positive things than negative, but I just wasn't seeing it, because my filter was so narrow on my own thoughts, on my own negativity, on my own disempowerment, that in my comfort zone of being, this is how I am, this is where I've got to, and I can't do anything about it, I was so oblivious to all the positivity and the opportunities that were actually coming my way and being put forward by people all around me. So if you're starting to think or be suspicious of people that are paying you compliments, or being positive about you, or picking up things, or when you say something they say no, but actually this is how I feel about you, or this is what I see about you, and you can't recognize that, it's time to change the lens of your filter. It's time to really just broaden it out to encompass all aspects of the negative and the positive, and then try and make the positive a bigger and much stronger force in your day-to-day conversations and mindsets. And just to boost your ego a little bit. People always talk about not having an ego, or not being able to express yourself, or be able to shine as bright as you can. Be brazen about it, because when you hold yourself small, the self-talk and the negative self-image of yourself kind of cocoons and shrinks back into that smallness. Be bigger than you have ever been before, and just be kind to yourself, and interrupt those mindset, those words, those conversations that are not making you feel good. You know when you feel good, you know what to say to make yourself feel good. You just have to practice. So that becomes your default, and the negative is actually really, really minor in your day-to-day experience. I'm not saying the negative is not going to come, but you've got to learn how to counteract that negative with a positive thought. And that's how you build a kinder, beautiful, more loving relationship with yourself. You need to be really choosy about who you are friends with. And when I say that, I mean, okay, we've all got our negative and positive side of us. So if you had a friend who was really negative, like every time you went round to her, it was just like, woe is me, this is bad, blah, blah, blah. And you had a friend that was positive, and like everything was like optimistic. She was enthralled with life. She was happy most of the time, despite what was going on. You need to be really choosy. Which of the friends would you prefer to spend more time with? I know I'm going with this one, because this one here, I know misery loves company, and I don't want to be miserable. I refuse to be miserable from this point forward. So choose your friends wisely in your own mind. You either break up with your negative friend and latch onto the positive, or you stay with your negative friend and start to fester in your comfort zone that is no longer comforting to you. I would say, no matter what your negative friend is doing, say, that's cool, but I'm not playing with you today. I'm going to hang out with my positive friend because she makes me feel good. She gives me the confidence. She is encouraging, and she makes me believe that I can actually achieve things that I don't even know I could achieve. I'm going with her. See ya, bitch. Bye. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because if you've been living and working with your mindset for many years, it's going to be quite hard to break free, but it is going to be so worth it. There's times when my old friend of negativity might pop in, but you know what I do? I say, now I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Forget how you're feeling, just take action. That is my main thing. Today, I was meant to film this video however many days ago, but things have been going on in my life that have been taking my focus. And you know what I said today? Do you know what? Even if I don't film the video, I am going to set up my camera. And I'm going to put on some of my queen earrings, slick my hair back, put on some clothes, just set it up and see what happens. And here I am in front of you. So my negativity nanny was telling me, do you know what? Take it easy. Life's been a bit hectic. Things have been happening. Just you deserve to have a break. My positive side is actually show the brazen lifestyle. Brazen is about believe it, plan it, live it. I'm doing the live it. At the end of the day, override the circuits. Do what you're meant to be doing. And now I'm here in front of you in the camera. I'm not even thinking about what happened a couple days ago, because I'm taking the positive and I'm actually making it here on camera with you with a smile on my face and feeling positive about my life right now. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I am saying though, you have the power, and you always have the power within you to make a decision. You either latch onto the negative or latch onto the positive. But I know in the long run, the positive is always going to do you right. The negative just wants you to be safe, secure, and stagnant. We're not being stagnant here, ladies. We ain't even got time to be stagnant, because it's now 2024 and time is ticking. And there's so much we can do within the time that we've been given. So let's make the choice today. So if you're new to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you never miss a thing. And if you're looking to start your own brazen journey, click the description below where you'll find free downloads to get you started.